Should you buy Uncharted Legacy of Thieves collection in 2022? The Uncharted series has been praised to no end since Uncharted 2's release, but now Uncharted has made its way to PC, so now is a great time to see if Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy holds up to today's standards. Uncharted 4 had a bit of a messy development with Amy Hennig leaving the studio who wrote the previous Uncharted games, but in hindsight I think it really worked for Uncharted 4. Uncharted 4 feels like the culmination of everything that is Uncharted while growing up a bit. Uncharted 4 is a far more mature and grounded story combined with some incredible set pieces that I would argue are the best in the series. There'll be no spoilers in this video apart from one, but I'll give a warning when that happens, and I won't be talking in depth about Lost Legacy as the video would be too long, but it's a great addition to the series. That's all I need to say about that. So I'm not going to twist your left nut here. Uncharted 4 is pretty incredible. It's a Sony exclusive, so that's to be expected, but Naughty Dog absolutely smashed it here once again. Uncharted 4's story is a wonderful mashup of everything that is Uncharted. You've got the epic set pieces, the witty dialogue, the crazy mysteries, only this time it's all layered with a sense of climax and maturity. It was a big risk bringing in Sam Drake, who was absent from previous games, but it works. Sam Drake, played by Troy Baker, is actually a wonderful addition to the cast of characters and is exactly how I expected the older brother of Nathan to be like. Combine that with the already great cast of characters like Sully and Elena and you've got a winning ticket to possibly one of the best stories you'll play. Uncharted 4 takes what would normally be just another action-adventure title and just turns it upside down. It's far less about the crazy mystery and action set pieces and more about the characters and the dynamics between them, while tricking you into thinking this is just another Uncharted game about treasure and mystery. This story is so much more. It's about love, it's ambition, selfishness, and straight up stupidity a lot of the time, rather than just being, oh look, treasure, kill the people and take the treasure. And you know, I actually learned something from the story and I was like, damn, not only is Nate getting character development, but my ass is too. This is awesome. There are great set pieces, but the point of them is very different this time around. Uncharted 2 and 3 had crazy ass set pieces, but it was always there because action, lots of action, give me more action. But Uncharted 4, it really does push the story forward. Every set piece has a purpose for the story. Every time these characters get closer and closer to death, it just becomes more heightened and more ridiculous, and that's the point. So Uncharted 4 really holds that tension beautifully. You never really know what could happen next. I mean, this is like my 8th or 9th playthrough of this game, well, it's the first time on PC, but every time I come back to it, I just like it more and more. The villains have always been a bit weak in Uncharted, I think, and it still is the case here, but Rafe Adler is the best villain the series has ever seen. His motivations actually make a lot of sense, and his lust to find this treasure first, technically on his own, but he's not on his own, is completely understandable. He's fairly complex, mainly because you don't get enough screen time with him to really flesh him out, but the moments you do get with him do a great job in making it clear who he is and what he wants. Now, where things start losing me is with the flashbacks. There aren't many flashbacks, but they always come in right after a big action set piece and the story is really, speeding up. So it just slows everything down, and while I wouldn't usually mind that because it's a good balance, action, slow, that's usually alright, but I just found the flashbacks incredibly boring. I think Naughty Dog really wanted to justify the existence of Sam Drake, but I just don't think we needed every flashback in the game. There's one towards the end of the game that I really think could have been cut, but there is a story purpose for it because of another character being there. However, I think the game would have been paced a little bit better, and I mean a little bit, if they did cut some of the fluff, like the flashbacks. Some of them are really necessary, but like I said, that last one I really think it could have been cut. And my last issue is how everything wraps up. The last 2 hours of the game the writing just suddenly magically wraps everything up, and it loses that tension the rest of the story had. Naughty Dog tried to keep the whole action aspect while wrapping it all up, but I think they kind of went too much for the action part until the very end, but we'll talk about that. So ultimately, I think it could have been done slightly better. It felt a little bit rushed, basically. Other than that, I think the story is the best in the franchise. Lost Legacy is pretty great as well, and ends with the best set piece the franchise has ever seen, and I will stick by that. That final set piece in Lost Legacy is some of the best. It's just some of the best action I've ever played. Writing is witty, set pieces are fantastic, character work is the best in the series, the story feels mature, and actually gives us a proper ending for all of these characters. I mean, all of this is kind of shown with the final chapter of the game, not the epilogue, the final chapter before the epilogue. This is spoilers, guys. Skip to the gameplay section, which should be in about 30 seconds. Skip to that, it's on the screen. Skip to that now. 3, 2, 1. The final chapter just simply having a sword fight in a burning ship where all the treasure is and it's all sinking around them and the whole cave collapses, that is just perfect for an Uncharted ending, like the ending of the series, like full stop. That is perfect. It's just so not heightened, you know. It's not ending with a giant set piece that is just so over the top. It ends with just this 1v1 where all three main characters are there and everything's coming together, all the motivations, all the tension between them just exploding in that tiny little room in a sword fight, and it's done brilliantly. The voice actor for Rafe, he smashed that bit. The writing was great. The choreography was even great. It's just a really good ending. It's a really good ending. I really liked it. Anyway, we should move on. Now, we all knew this. It's hard to avoid the praise of Uncharted, but where it always lacked was the gameplay, and oh my god, this is just, yeah, this is fucking awesome. I'm not going to delay this any longer. Uncharted 4 has the best gameplay, the best set pieces, the best AI, the best gunplay, the best encounters, and the best final chapter in any of the Uncharted games. Well, actually, Lost Legacy has the best set piece in the entire franchise, but still, Uncharted 4 is, like I said earlier, the culmination of everything that is Uncharted, so the gameplay is no exception. You've got a bunch of guns to choose from: snipers, shotguns, pistols, assault rifles, grenade launchers, SMGs, and most importantly, your fists. Combine this with the most refined aspects of Uncharted 4 and you've got one of the best action games you will ever play. Uncharted 4 ditches the whole stick-to-cover BS. I mean, you could still do that like other third-person games, but this game really forces your ass out of cover, jumping off cliffs, throwing out a grappling hook, jumping off the hub, landing on an enemy, taking his gun, shoot another guy, slide down a cliff, jump on another guy, punch him in the face, duck and roll, shoot, just like an absolute maniac. It's great. This is the gameplay loop of Uncharted 4 and it's pretty much perfect apart from some minor nitpicks. Firstly, stealth. It's been added here and it's pretty awful. It's nice to have an option to play stealthily, but it's really bare bones. Like, the only way you can stealthily take someone out is sneaking up behind them and strangling them. That's it. The stealth is pretty bad, and honestly, I'd recommend to never use it. Uncharted's gameplay has always been about the moment-to-moment action gameplay, and that's the way to play Uncharted 4. Gunplay is the best in the series. You'll be switching from pistols to shotguns to a sniper all in the span of seconds. It's easily the most refined combat system in any Uncharted game, so when you combine it with the aggressive AI, you've got a pretty challenging experience here. It's all about juggling everything. It's multitasking. The key to the gameplay is the movement. Uncharted 4 will never allow you to sit in cover for too long. You've got to move, and that's what makes Uncharted 4 gameplay work. This is the ultimate action-adventure game. No game I have played has come close to making me feel the way I do when I play Uncharted 4. Everything just works. The soundtrack adds that epicness factor to everything. The set pieces are super polished, and most importantly, the game feels balanced. Uncharted 4 is actually pretty difficult compared to the previous Uncharted games. If you make basic mistakes like moving out of cover at the wrong time, it's pretty unforgiving, and it just gives you more satisfaction when you finally beat a section pretty much flawlessly, and adds a lot to the replay value. That's a good time to mention the level design. The level design is really good. It's pretty incredible, actually. There's one mission really stuck out. It's not even a set piece. It's towards the end of the game where you're swimming around and there's this abandoned building and it's flooded, and you've got different, like, there's verticality to it. You can go underwater, you can jump on top, you can jump back into the water, sneak up behind someone, snap their neck, go around, jump on top of someone, take their gun. It's just amazing. The level design is incredible here, and I've never really took much notice of it on my previous playthroughs, because I was never reviewing it. I was just playing it like as just a normal bloke. But when I was going through it and I was just actually listing off things that I didn't like from previous action-adventure games, Uncharted 4 just fucking nails it. It just nails it. I don't have many negative things to say about it. I know I sound like a fanboy, but I went into this review like trying to be as unbiased as possible, and this is me being unbiased pretty much. Well, one or two things I'm a bit biased about, like the characters and story, but still, it's incredible. Now, there are some weird changes. I'm gushing about it, but I should definitely mention these. For some reason, they removed your ability to have a combat dodge. So in previous games, if you were in close quarters combat, you'd have a dodge button that looks great. You know, it's smooth. It's like The Last of Us Part 2 in a way with in Uncharted 3. But here, you can only roll away. which was really weird. It makes a lot of the close quarter combat moments really goofy. I mean, I guess it's to keep you moving to avoid slowing down the gameplay, but it still felt like a weird change, and the climbing is really boring. The dodging is just all over the place. Like you're in the middle of punching someone, you see someone coming for, and you just roll away. It doesn't look smooth, which is the complete opposite of what Uncharted 4 is supposed to be. The animations are so great and so varied that it seems really weird to ignore this aspect since you're going to be fighting most of the time. But yeah, like I said, the climbing is really boring. I know the climbing is there to pace the game and it works for that, but as a gameplay feature, it sucks. You basically can't lose when climbing, so there's no real tension, so you do end up switching your brain off when those sections appear. But it's not like a game killer, you know, it's there, it paces the game while it looks nice and there's time for character development to happen within the game. Now with the PC version, there's some slight issues with the PC version in my experience. There are a few bugs. There was one in chapter 5 I think, where everything just went colourful for some reason. You could see on the screen. That was really odd, so I turned it off. I installed some drivers that I forgot to install on PC, and then the issue was fixed. I never saw it again. And there are a couple frame drops here and there. In my experience, I have an RTX 3060 Ti, and I had it on high settings, not ultra, because I just prefer frames, and there were moments where I did drop frames even with DLSS on, so that was awkward. But other than that, I experienced no issues. It's a pretty amazing PC port. Other than that, I'm being serious here, I don't have any other issue with Uncharted 4. For me, it's an almost perfect action-adventure game with a story that has so much more to it than it really lets on. Uncharted 4, in my opinion, is actually a masterpiece, and I don't say that lightly. It's the perfect ending for the franchise, so as much as I would love a sequel, I really think Uncharted should be left alone for at least another 5 or 10 years. The gameplay is the best in the series in pretty much every way apart from the lack of dodge. It tells the best story in the entire franchise combined with the best soundtrack of the franchise along with the best writing in the series. Yes, you should absolutely buy Uncharted Legacy of Thieves in 2022. It's absolutely worth it, and you may finish it learning something about yourself. It's awesome. Thank you for watching. Keep it classic.